Hi, Shep Hagen here, excited for another look backstage with another all-access pass to the 50-year history of contemporary productions with Steve Shankman. Steve, we're going to talk about one of the artists, one that you love, one that actually I think you said was like a brother. That's Maynard Ferguson.
Yeah, well, I met Maynard for the first time. Maynard's a great trumpet player. Most people know him as Rocky, the theme of Rocky,
Yep.
but he recorded for many years, played with Stan Kenton, played with lots of other great groups, and then he had his own group for many years. I met him in 1973. He played one of the high schools in South St. Louis, and I was fortunate enough afterwards to take him and his daughter, Kim, back to the airport, which meant I had some time to spend with him. Little did I know a couple things would happen. One would be, in 1988, my wife at the time, Andrea, brought him in for my birthday. And I had stopped playing for a while because we had a son in 1973, and I thought maybe it'd be best not to be playing all the time. That's when Jason was born, my oldest. So what ended up happening is that not only was he coming to my birthday party, but I had the music to learn to play that night. Well, I hadn't played in 7 years, so here I was practicing all that music, but it was so nice of him to come in and do that party and allow me to play with him. Once again, little did I know that in later years, things would go rough for Maynard. And they actually came to me, his daughter and others, and said, Steve, could you manage him? And I picked up management on him a few years before he died. But he did all kinds of crazy things. For example, he's in town. He was like a second father, actually, and he came in to see me for Father's Day. My dad was deceased. And I said, I have a show out at Riverport with Blood, Sweat, and Tears, another Canadian act, right? David Clayton Thomas.
With horns.
With horns, and Maynard's from Canada. So we go out there, I sneak him in backstage. Now, whenever an act that had horns came to Riverport, my production manager, or the manager, Steve Finkel, who was the manager, Cindy Schrader, who was assistant manager, they'd say, the guy that owns this place, he's a trumpet player. So everybody hears that all the time. So here we are. I sneak Maynard back into one of the dressing rooms, and they're in their dressing room, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. I said, Maynard, just warm up a little bit. So he's warming up, all these stratospheric notes, and meanwhile, I walk out holding the trumpet, and these two trumpet players look down the hall. They said the guy plays the trumpet. He sounds like Maynard Ferguson. Meanwhile, they go out on stage, and they're playing, and I'm standing on the side of the stage, and I'm doing like this to Maynard. Maynard's doing like this to me. So David Clayton Thomas brings him out on stage, with 10,000 people, and has him play with Blood, Sweat, and Tears. But Maynard would love to pull these kinds of things. I loved him to death. Actually, when he did die, he was worth some money. I was able to collect a lot of royalties for him. But it was like having a best friend, a son, a father. I mean, just having him around, so spiritual of a person. It was a wonderful time. And it's sort of like, you doing magic, and all of a sudden you get to do a trick with Houdini. Here I was on stage the last time Maynard Ferguson ever performed Blue Note in New York City, and I'm in the band that night. I mean, it's the same kind of thing. The greatest trumpet player, greatest magician, the greatest baseball player. It's a neat thing to be able to be with your hero.
Wow, wow. That's a great story. Great story. Well, I hope you enjoyed this backstage look. Come back next week for another all-access look into the history of contemporary productions.